this is happening, guys. Not tomorrow, but essentially today. And over the next few years, emerging markets will become the powerhouse of consumerism. And their impressive spending power will likely translate into the rise of the so-called global citizen. These economies are witnessing the so-called middle class effect, according to which the size of the middle class is directly correlated to economic growth. Increase in the middle class increases economic growth, which in turn increases the middle class, which in turn increases economic growth, and so on and so forth, producing a virtuous circle. Education is also improving globally at an incredible speed, especially thanks to the rise of the smartphone as an empowering technology. Now, please look at this graph. This is the world only 40 years ago. By the way, blue means education, high education. Red means very low education. Look how much red there is. Especially India and Africa clearly are not doing good 40 years ago. And this is the world today. Everything, if you notice, is becoming blue very fast. There is blue even in the most remote of the areas. High education is how the world looks like right now. It will look like even more in the future. Blue is the color of the future in this regard. This, another consideration, like for instance, governments. Countries like Rwanda or India are pushing innovation on a government standpoint like there was no tomorrow, essentially, by doing everything they can to have an economy which is digital and cashless. Let me give you a simple example, India. India is a place that up until very few years ago, had a big problem of identification. We are talking about 5-6 years ago, where essentially no one on the country level had an identification. Unknown. India today has the largest and most developed, most sophisticated biometric ID system on the planet, as defined not by me, but the chief economist of the World Bank, Paul Romer. These people, thanks to a program called the Aadhaar, where essentially assigns one unique number to each and every one of you, and this unique number can be used for a variety of things, from social security, to access to sanitation, to schools, to the banking system soon, and so on and so forth. And they brought over 1 billion people in only 5 years. Can you imagine? From 0 to over 1 billion people identified properly, biometrically, in just about 5 years. Impressive. Now, these are the reasons makes us understand clearly why, since a couple of years ago, the vast majority of the companies which are unicorns, let's call billion-dollar company, do not come anymore from Europe and the United States. They come from emerging economies. Now, this is how the new world looks like. This is a new world order, and this is the world that we need to understand. Now, knowing this is real, there is one question to ask ourselves as soon as possible. What is next? Two things. One, we need to rethink innovation in an emerging market-ready way, where essentially innovation is not made anymore of few big, major, disruptive changes, but where innovation is made of a lot of baby steps, a lot of small improvements, low cost-oriented, and usually focusing on the masses. In this new world order, only innovations that impact positively billions of people will actually succeed. And second, we need to understand, we need to acknowledge, and we need to embrace this change. People who used to think of the emerging world as a source of cheap innovation are completely wrong. They need to understand that now the emerging world can be a source also of disruptive innovation as well. But the world is changing. And in my company, Simba, we took this phenomenon really to the heart. And actually, we're trying to leverage on it and being an active part of this. We're trying to empower this uprising middle class in emerging markets. And what we do essentially, we try to solve the big, giant problems of digital divide, of people not being able to be online. Why? Because they do not have a desktop computer, they only have a smartphone. Of people not only of businesses mainly, not able to have a digital presence, which, by the way, I consider to be a human right in 2017, not being able to have it only because of digital divide. And therefore, what we do is we empower them. We empower them by giving them a product so simple that even the most uneducated person on earth with a low-power device smartphone in 60 seconds can bring his company online. And after this, by pressing one more button, can actually bring his company available on a variety of channels to kind of expose it to the world, wherever these customers are. And we do this in a way which we hope to be so instant, so easy to use, and then we enable the guy afterward to talk to what we define our Simba assistant. He's a bot at the end of the day. What he does, he talks to the business owner and helps him go to the up and downs of his business with the ultimate goal of growing revenues. Technology is something we took to the core. For the pure reasons that we realized the hard way that if you target emerging markets, you need to do it in an emerging market ready way. That's why my suggestion. And therefore, for instance, when building the technology, you cannot even imagine of building a mobile application that is good for Europe or the United States. Not at all. Why? Because companies that do it for Europe or the United States do it, for instance, not taking care of the internet connection, of the cost of data on a GDP per capita. And therefore, what we do is we have all of this in a way which is completely offline ready, 2G connection ready, emerging market ready, as we like to call it. And for us, it's beautiful as by the way of doing business, we're actually, hopefully, having an impact on the society. We're helping people like, we're helping entrepreneurs in mainly Latin America, in Asia, and in Africa to bring their companies online and to grow revenues. And the interesting part of it, guys, is that we realized that in these countries, people really care. And therefore, we started entering the country, and suddenly we realized that we were not alone. There were a lot of governments, a lot of local entities, a lot of local companies, a lot of students that decided that they care about having their country become digital and cashless, and therefore, without us doing anything, they tried to join us. And therefore, for instance, these are some of our students in Mumbai and Pune, in India. What they're doing, they're going literally street by street, down in the road. They're knocking on the door of every business to help the owner to understand the impact the technology can have on his company and to ultimately go online. Working alongside emerging markets is proving to be one of the most beautiful and rewarding experiences of my life. And with the world changing at an unprecedented speed, I believe it is time that we rethink the way in which we think about emerging markets. I believe that the flow of innovation is already reversed, and it actually is accelerating. And I deeply believe that we are on the edge of a global shift. And soon enough, if we do not realize this, we may actually end up in the situation where Europe and the United States are the new emerging economies. And therefore, in light of all of this, let me ask you the question again. Are you looking at emerging markets in the right way? Thank you so much, guys.